Nice out there right now, but we could see some dense fog tonight.
And that's a warning. Here's meteorologist Amber Wheeler with your weekend outlook.
That's right. The last couple of mornings we've seen some dense fog in some areas, and as we head into tomorrow, we're looking for some more dense fog. In fact, a little bit more of a widespread chance. Visibility could be down to 1/4 of a mile and less, and we're watching for that super fog in areas that we've seen some burning, maybe some smoke in the air. Could also give us near zero visibility. It makes more fog. It allows that fog to develop even thicker when you have the smoke. But here is the dense fog advisory. It is all along the Florida Panhandle through Alabama, Mississippi, and all of southeast Louisiana, extending off towards western Louisiana. And it begins tonight at 10 p.m. and it lasts until 8 a.m. on Saturday morning. But your time frame where it's going to be the thickest is typically going to be in the early morning hours. We'll start to see it develop probably around midnight, if not just before, but the thickest will be after midnight. You'll start seeing that around 3, 4 o'clock or so. This model is making it look like all of us are going to get very dense fog, but it will be much more patchier than this. And then, of course, that does really lift as we head through the morning and we get that daytime heating. That convection really lifts that fog quickly. This is heading into Saturday night. The model's picking up on some fog and not as dense here, but I can tell you we're going to have the same conditions into play on Sunday morning. So we're going to be watching Sunday morning very closely, even though the models are not loving it necessarily for the densest fog. Now we're increasing the humidity as well. You'll notice that we're going to be a little muggier as we get into the first part of next week. So we're going to be watching for the daily morning fog potential. We'll have the setup for fog each morning. And this is really normal for us. In fact, this is basically the numbers for each month, the number of dense fog advisories we've had in each month between 2007 and 2024. So for the month of November, we've seen 114 dense fog advisories. We can now say 115. And you can see there for December, 166. So we're really heading into peak fog season, really keeping that high chance January, February, March, and it really falls off as we get into the summer months. We don't typically see many dense fog advisories during the hottest part of the year. But over the next 24 hours, we'll prepare for that fog in the morning with a big warm up behind it. So some very above normal temperatures here. Next week, we're talking widespread 80s for much of your work week, and long range towards the end of next week. That's when I'm seeing the possibility of our next front that could bring us our next best chance for rain. So here's tomorrow. Temperatures are back into the upper 70s. So today we hit about 76. Tomorrow I think we'll hit about 78 or so. You'll still see some passing clouds, so lots of sunshine, but still some passing clouds. And just like today, once that sun does set, you'll see those temperatures fall mostly to the 60s in the evening, 50s for overnight lows. And then there's Sunday. We're probably looking at around 80, so warm and humid for this time of year. It is going to stay dry, of course, that Po' Boy Festival from 10 a.m. to 6 p.m. I would say basically you've got shorts and t-shirt weather here for your Sunday, and you can thank this ridge of high pressure. This, of course, is what's been keeping us very warm. We talk about these ridge of high pressures in the summer. We call them heat domes because they really heat us up, but in the fall, they really warm up our temperatures back into the low 80s, possibly a few of us this week hitting the mid 80s, but mostly that's going to be firmly into play here for much of next week. All of the weather makers staying well to our north. This ridge is going to slowly push off towards the east, and I'm watching a trough moving in from the west. This is the possibility of our next best chance for rain sometime maybe between Thursday and Friday. We'll have to watch that, but this is certainly going to be our next chance. And then once that moves out of here, it looks like the pattern could get a little busier, so we could start seeing better chances for rain after that. This is the next 7 days worth of rain potential. You can see where we could see some heavy storms towards the end of the week, and we certainly are going to get a chance to see some of that rain as well. The timing, of course, will really be able to hone in as we get closer. But what we really know and have high confidence in is the fact that we're going to be warming up to the low 80s here for much of next week. If we get that rain moving through, of course, it will cool us a little bit, but we still stay above average. Average right now is 71 degrees. And heading into Thanksgiving, right now the trend is that we're going to stay above average. But remember, Thanksgiving, the average average temperature is 69, so being just above that is still considered above average. So we're keeping it warm for Thanksgiving. However, I'm watching after Thanksgiving, maybe our next really strong cold front. And then there's that signal, the 8 to 14 day time frame here. This is the signal showing a bit of an active pattern that's setting up across the country here. We may not be as protected by that heat dome or that ridge of high pressure. I think we could get in on better chances for some rain as we head into the next few weeks. Now, of course, we do have our daily live weather stream, and we do this on fox8live.com. You can also download our app on Roku, Apple TV, and Amazon Fire TV there. 11:30 and 2:30 we do that. You'll have somebody from the weather team giving you an analysis on why we made a forecast the way we did. And we also go into in-depth why something is happening. Today I talked a lot about super fog and how it's made. And of course we'll be following all the big latest weather events and really dissecting those with that live stream. You can see here, we'll be dissecting maybe a cold front towards the end of next week. Not a strong one though. That's probably going to be a front that brings some milder air behind it. But I'm watching towards the end of November. We could see maybe something stronger then.
Oh, that's good. Going into December.
Which is pretty normal.
Yes. All right. Thank you.